Good morning and welcome to our Spanish adventures. We are starting a new adventure, which is to convert our Isuzu D-Max into an overland camper. This video is to show some of the preparation for that project. We need to widen the entrance to our drive to make it easier to bring the truck into the garage. So Lewis is going to use the PMF method, which is Poor Mans Fibreglass, to make some new gates. It's good practice because he will be using this construction method on the camper build.
So I'm in the process of making a couple of new gates for our driveway. So I'll just briefly show you and explain. I've used 20 by 20 aluminium to give me a structure, and then I've just laid 10mm ply both sides. I've also put some polystyrene inside and glued and sandwiched it together so we don't get any belly in maybe the heat. So they're pretty strong, quite heavy. My finish is what they call PMF, Poor Mans Fibreglass. I can't use fiberglass myself, I'm allergic to fiberglass and resins and all that sort of thing, so it's a traditional boat building method this is. So I've chosen a very good quality canvas, which I got off the internet. So now all I'm going to do is coat the plywood with some glue, and you'll see as the process goes, and lay down the canvas. I can only do half at a time because the glue does go off quite quickly. There's two coats. I'll put 2 coats of glue on because the plywood soaks it really quickly. The trick is not to put too much glue on as well. Obviously I watched a few YouTube channels where people are using the PMF. Some people literally soak this with glue, and then you get saturation through the canvas of the glue, which makes it very hard, but I believe the idea is to bond the canvas down to the plywood and let the paint then absorb into the canvas, which gives you the waterproof barrier that you should need. So I also chose to use the Titebond 3, which is the waterproof glue. They do the Titebond 2, which isn't actually classed as waterproof, but it's a bit more expensive, but hopefully that will pay off.
Crack on then.
I will.
So we bought a massive tub of that glue because he's going to use this method for the truck camper as well. I'm assuming there'll be some left.
I think there'll be a little bit left. It's surprising how much glue you use.
So that's just normal paint roller that you're using to put it on?
Spongy paint roller. Try to get an even layer of glue, and if you get glue lines in it, it does show through the canvas, but part of that is because the canvas is pretty fine that I'm using. So once I start, I'll crack on as best I can. You see the glue's quite creamy looking, so once I put the second coat on, you can actually, it looks like I've started to paint the plywood with a creamy coloured paint.
Wants to give me so much more than I could ever dream, but just to hold him close is such a luxury. I have his heart and that's enough for me. His words, they're honest, his hands steady. Never had someone who loved me oh so tenderly. Now when I think of him, I see my family. I have his heart and that's enough for me.
So that's the glue, so I'll pull the canvas over in a second. If you just notice here, what I did was folded the canvas right round, ran onto this curve, cut it off on the bevel, and then I've sanded it and feather edged it. So the next, this layer will go over the top Some people will use another roller, a dry roller, but you can feel with the palm of your hand. That's pretty good. Pleased with that. For this canvas, we didn't pre-wash. The ones that I used on the underside, we tried the pre-wash on them, just a lukewarm wash, dried them, ironed them, but it did seem to distort the canvas a little bit. That's gone down a lot easier than the ones that we pre-washed. I know most people on the internet do pre-wash the canvases, but I think some of that depends on the canvas you're using. As you see now, this will fold down and overlap. So I'm going to use this piece of alloy as a straight edge, put a pencil line along here, and then flip that up, cut that along the pencil line, and then I'll use a paintbrush to glue this up and fold this down. So the edges all the way around will be double canvassed, and I'll be able to feather that edge off so you won't see the join in the canvas at all. So just fold this part back, so I just tug on the glue line a little bit, because you do want to make sure you don't get the strip in the middle that's got no glue on it.
Got the quick with it, haven't you?
Yeah. It's a bit of a workout.
I can see that.
So, then if the camera will pick these up, you can see like a little dents here. That's screw holes where the filler's sunk, and it shows up. It probably won't show up when I paint anyway, but I am being a bit picky here, but I will be able to just feather a bit of filler in there and get rid of that. That's it. So with the other ones that we pre-washed, I did, once I got to this stage, I did run the iron over it as well, but I think this has gone down really well. You probably see here, down this line, it's not a join in the plywood, it's actually where I folded the canvas back, and it's saturation of glue where I've bumped the canvas with the roller, so it's extra glue. That's all that is. That'll dry out, that'll disappear anyway. But once it's painted, that'll be gone. So that's that. I'm just going to go around and mark. You can see how quickly that glue tacks up. So I'll go around and cut these off, and then just use a small paintbrush to glue this and fold these down. And I'll do the second one. So once that's done and they're finished, it's just continue loads of paint, and I'll use a good quality exterior paint for masonry walls. Got a little bit of plastic in it, I believe, but it's really good quality and works well here in Spain with the sunshine. Doesn't sort of eat into the paint at all, so I'll use that same paint on here. I'll use white just because I've got loads of it now, and we're going to finish these, I believe, Jill, in grey, aren't we?
Yeah, in a dark grey.
Yeah.
It's enough to see him early in the morning. It's enough to please him when the day is done. Yeah, long as I got him, well, I don't need a thing. I have his heart, and that's enough for me. I have his heart, and that's enough for me.
As I pull the canvas down, the glue just pops through the pores. Look, you can just see it here. As I pull the canvas down, the glue just pops through, which is perfect, particularly on the corners. So I'll come back to this corner in a minute, but I use a couple of these. With the first layer of canvas I put on, I folded the join that way, so I'll just fold this one down and bring this round, something like that, and glue that down. So I've done 8 coats now of white, and I've sanded it in between every second coat, mainly with the power sander and then with a hand sander, just a bit of fine paint. So I've got a reasonable finish on it now, and I'm going to top coat it with grey, and probably take 2 coats of grey. I'm using a small roller, it's a very fine fluffy roller, just to try to reduce the amount of bobbles I get in the paint. But I'm happy with that finish, it's reasonably good, so I'll give it a go. And it's a new roller, so I know the fluff will come out of it again.
You'll have to pick it out, won't you?
I don't always do, yeah. So I've now finished putting the grey paint on. Both sides have got one coat, and I've rolled that on. But I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you can see it's very shadow-like. So I've bought a spray gun. I do have a small compressor anyway, and my plan now is just to drift over a bit of spray paint to try to get that bit flatter finish. But on the whole, I like the slight orange peel effect, that's fine, but I don't like them shadow lines that it's got. I want it to look a bit more even, so I'll spray it and see what happens. So I'll get ready and drop the sheet upon that wall, stand them both up, and have a go, see what happens. Keep you up to date. Had to buy a new compressor because the little compressor won't run with spray gun, so I'm waiting for that to turn up, so I'm going to make some handles. So I've bought some 20x20 alloy because we want long handles, sort of from top to bottom. So I'm going to cut that, make some spaces, spray it all black.
It's enough to see him early in the morning. It's enough to please him when the day is done. Yeah, long as I got him, well, I don't need a thing. I have his heart, and that's enough for me. I have his heart, and that's enough for me. I have his heart, and that's enough for me.
So this is what will be one of the outside handles. So I'll show you what I've done. So this is one of the inserts that I made to go inside the aluminium 20x20 box section, and what I've done is slid a Loctite nut in there, and it's just, I dropped a bit of super glue on it just to hold it in place, and then all I did was slide that in there down to my pre-drilled hole. I'll show you this end. Slide it in there, pushed it down to the hole, like so, and then I've got my threaded bar. It's a bit long, but I'd rather have it long, I can cut it when I'm ready, and threaded that in there into that nut. Put another nut then on top side, and then I cut the small spacer, and that slides over the top of the nut, and that holds that in place. So the inside handle, which is this, has got holes going right through it. So we'll have the gate here, let's say, thickness of the gate, another one of these spacers with a nut, and then this will go on top of the spacer, and a dome nut then will go on top like that. Probably about €30, let's say €35 in total for 4 big handles like that. And I looked on the internet and they was just like €100 each. It was just ridiculous. So yes, if you want chrome, then I couldn't do it, but we wanted it black, so once that's on there, that'll look the part. Somewhere around here.
Can't wait for the finished result.
Perfect, that's it.
The first job is to move the outside tap from here to here, and to remove this section of wall, and to move the pillar and front wall section. Lewis has built the new pillar first to give the level to mount the new gate
lightning
posts.
shows my weakness, the thunder knows my secrets, the storm is like a brother, it knows me like no other. So let it rumble, let it roll, 'cause it's all I know.
I'm just going to show you where we're up to so far. You can see that he's already put the two new gate posts on and removed part of this wall, and also he's dug out the footings for the new part of the driveway so that it will take the weight of the new truck.
You can keep your calm and easy, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the tree, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. I see the waters rising with waves as strong as iron. My soul was...
Good morning, Lewis.
Morning. Morning. Bit of shuttering this morning.
So do you want to explain what you're doing?
Well, I was just putting a bit of polythene behind that shuttering, that's all. So when I pull the piece of wood out, there's a bit of polythene between the soil and the concrete. I might drill a hole through the concrete wall, and that gives you a seat hole. Let some moisture come through.
But that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like it can sense the reckless.
So just for the stupid people like me,
Yeah,
the concrete goes in the middle, yeah?
yeah, of course.
And those pipes are like rebar, they act like rebar.
Yeah, just to stop the soil and everything from pushing the wall forward this way. Just keep it in place, that's all. Doesn't need much because it's not a lot actually. And then so this once the concrete's set, this side I'll just render so it looks like the walls. And then along the top here I'll put a row of tiles to match those tiles, and then bring the gravel back. That's how it used to look. Just a
It
bit
looked lovely,
bigger.
won't it? Yeah.
It's bigger.
Well, I'll come back when you've done some more then.
Storm forever. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like they can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, feels like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound, let the rain come down. Let the rain come down.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, you.
Yep.
I've just prepared the render. I don't know if you can see on this, but we had to put the pattern back in, and we tried lots of different things. Trowel, paper bag, plastic bag, sorry, and eventually a spoon, which worked quite well. So we just got to finish repainting that. Show the outside as well. Louis, being the clean workman he is cleaning up after himself.
Yeah.
You look a bit hot, Louis.
Yeah. 37.
Yeah, it's quite hot today, so the render is cracking a little bit where it's a bit thick. Doesn't that look beautiful? It's just got this end bit to finish. too hot today to carry on.
Like they can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, feels like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound